Hello everyone, welcome again to another review. In this case, we're going to review to the Orient Dray. Please take a seat, take a coffee, and enjoy. As always, please don't forget to give a like to this video if you enjoy it, subscribe, and turn the notifications on. That way you cannot miss the following reviews. So let's start then with this device. So more than a review, this is me telling you how well this watch worked for the last 7 years that I have it. And I will show you some marks that it got during this time, but overall I'm really impressed for the quality that I can appreciate with it. But first let me show you how much it weighs. So we have something to talk about from the beginning. There you can see it's around 160 grams. In comparison, I have a G-Shock 5000 series here. It's around 50 grams, so you can tell the difference. But I don't think it's a lot heavier than other mechanical watch that you can find in the range. So this is the first version, as you can see, because this one has here the knob on the top. But I will show you also later a segment of a video why it is called the Ray. I guess you can tell by now this color here on the dial. So what is good about this watch? Let me start by introducing this to you. As you can see, we have a bezel here with these indentations that work really well for the hand. And I will try to do this with the gloves, as you can see, but it is really precise and exact. Okay, I sleep with my gloves. Again. I hope you can get the noise, and it is not wobbly. It's still really fixed. After all these years. And as you can see, we have half a minute advancement, so this is something really useful and is really precise. Of course, you have this as a diver watch, so that means that you can only use it to the left. To the right, it is locked. So what else can I tell you about this dial? As you can see, you have the divisions on the outer side, really useful for when you want to measure time before 15 minutes. You have these indicators there every minute. This is on the outer bezel, and on the inner dial, as you can see, these markers are with a paint that glows in the night. I'm sure you may have seen pictures or other videos about this, so I will let that be. And here, as you can see, if I just try to move the hands out of the way, then you will see what information you have underneath. You have the day and you have also the date. Really useful for everyday life. I mean, I also like using these digital watches because you can also get the date and the day on the same screen, let's say. So it's really useful in comparison to other analog watches which you don't have this information. As you can see, the sun is hitting me right now, and you can see how beautiful this ray is looking at the moment. So as I came in contact with this watch, here to the side, you have this crown. As you can see, it's a screw down one. So you have to unscrew it to use it, and then you have to pull first position. Then you change, as you can see, the date, and if you pull again, then you change the time. Of course, in these automatic watches, it's not desired to go backwards because you can damage it, but you have to be careful on this. So then you screw it back. I must tell you that I never serviced this watch in 7 years, and I know this must be a bit not a good thing to do for the watch, but just to show you how well built this watch actually is. Okay, I have a bit of problem with my gloves. I will put this later. And here on top, you have this knob which you can use to change. Okay, I'll do this again. You press here and you change the day. In this case, it is in English and in Spanish. So what else can I tell you about this beautiful watch? So as you can see, this has a few scratches here on the top. It is a mineral glass. Maybe you can see it better that way. Has some light scratches on that side and a bit heavier here on the top. And the bezel also here next to the mark, it is a painted bezel here, this blue part. And you can see also has some light scratches. This kind of watch, I used it not taking too much care of it, to be honest, like not like a baby that I would be all the time cleaning it, or I don't know, just wearing for dressing occasions. I use this watch to go hiking. I use this watch to go into water and to go doing sports. You know, for a mechanical watch, it's a heavy thing to consider, but it withstood the time really well. Then let's move on then to this band. As you can see, it is a solid metal band over there. They're really beefy, but the problem that I see is, and also I had to do a lot of times, is to adjust this little piece. It's not solid, as you can see here, this union, the watch with the band. Sadly, it is not a solid piece. So this part here is moving out and getting loose. And this gives the typical rattle. I will try to hold it here so you hear only the rattle of the watch with the band on the top. I'm holding it here. Sometimes it can be annoying for someone, for others it's totally fine. I say that I don't get annoyed by this, but you can see here on the top how this part is moving. So this is something that you can fix anyways. You can switch the band, it's not a huge deal. And as you can see, also the band has many many scratches. I never polished this. It is just like this since I bought the watch. Here on this part also you can see a lot of scratches here in the inner part as well, but this is a bit thick, so this is something interesting for the endurance of the watch. And here also you can see even more scratches. I believe that's normal for any watch, but you may consider that to maybe to switch the band or maybe to polish it, as I believe this is also an alternative. Okay, what else can I tell you regarding the timekeeping? I will make a proof now. I will use this digital watch to start to set a timer or a stopwatch, and I will measure and I will post here how well it keeps time for 2 hours. I'll put 2 hours here, and then I will measure how exact these 2 hours happen to be in this watch. I can tell you that is very accurate for everyday life. And I mean, if you have to take trains and all this, it's really good, because then you are can be sure that within the minutes it is precise. So this is something useful for everyday life. And I believe also that the time that, let's say you are wearing this for a day or two, and then you stop wearing because maybe you want to switch watches. In my experience, all this year, this was constant. So up to 2 days, for sure, you can let this be. And then when you come back, this will show you this, the time in a proper way. That means that the load that the spring can hold is for sure up to 2 days. I had no problem with it at all. So I really like this, because then that means I can alternate my watches without a problem. And also maybe if you're in vacation or something, you let it be because, I don't know, you need to rest from carrying this on your wrist, or maybe because you want to get a nice tan and then you don't want to have this mark of the watch on your wrist, then you can let it be, and for sure you will not have a problem at all. And the other thing that I want to tell you is that I never had water problems. So it was not that I was going to dive in with this watch, but you know, the every use, like taking a shower or washing your hands, you don't have to worry about any of these conditions that you will believe it will ruin the watch. It's of course really interesting that it kept really well even through all these years. One interesting thing about this watch is, as you can see, the dial here is shining blue with the sunlight directly. This I was doing another video, by the way, but luckily now, as I'm recording this, the sun is hitting me directly. So as you can see also how this ray moves, and it's something that you can appreciate even at the distance. It's not something that you should have to be close to look at, but even at the distance, you can still see the ray moving, and that's a beautiful effect that you get in this one, which you don't get in any other watch. And the other thing that I wanted to tell you regarding the lume, this is something that maybe some Seiko fans are disappointed because they say it doesn't last the whole night. In my experience, if you're in the day, I mean, you can go from this bright sunlight like this, and then you go to the shadow and you can still see already how this lume is already working. So it doesn't need time at all to charge. And I believe this is important maybe when you are outside. This is something that happens funny enough with these digital watches. When you're in the sun and then you enter to a room or to your house, to your apartment or to somewhere, and then you want to see the time, with this one, your eyes are used to this bright light of the sun, so you cannot see this properly. So in exchange, when you come inside, and then you have a totally switch of light, and then this lume is already lighting up. So then you can come from a really bright area like this, and you can go directly to the shadow, and then you can see the time still properly. This is something, an advantage that this one has in comparison to the digital watches. Of course, this one also has an automatic light that when you tilt your wrist, it will turn itself on. But if you are in the day, you usually turn it off to save battery. So yeah, this is not fulfilling that function 100%. So this is something that I really like about this one. As I have enough sunlight right here, I want to show you the comparison. This is a ray with this beautiful dial again. Something that you can stop looking at it. And here you have a G-Shock, which kind of has an effect as well, but this is black or really dark gray. Still beautiful to see, but not so present like this one. Of course, the dial of this one is a lot cleaner as well. And here we have a Seiko, which doesn't have any ray at all. Just to have as a comparison for you to appreciate what we have right here. One thing regarding the shine here, or the ray, I will show you a short video now so you can see how it looks like under light inside your home, which usually is a bit yellowish. If you have the same light, then this what you see here, just a slight of purple. Then under this yellowish light, this turns really purple. And some people don't like this, but I believe it looks really well. Sometimes there is a difference between the bezel blue and the inner one, in the inner dial, which is a bit purplish, but this is a bit more true blue, if you want to put it like that. Some people don't like this, but I believe it's a good combination anyways. So as you can see, I proceeded to remove the band because I want to show you something that will happen really often to you. This is the upper part. As you can see, it's a bit, scratched from these ears. But what I want to show you here on the top is something that happened to me so many times that it's ridiculous already. I'll try to take it out like this, and then you can see this is almost broken already. So I will try to remove this pin from the top. As you can see, what I want to show you already, how bent that is. Okay, so luckily I have my Swiss champ nearby with these really nice pliers. If you want to see a review of this one, please check my videos. I made one in 2 parts because there is so much to talk about this. So take a look to this, but here we can see the result. This is the part holding it. I had to bend this to the upper side, as you can see there. And this is a bit soft, to be honest, but this is the result. It's not good at all. Look how bent that is. And it's a bit tricky, and this is a bit broken on the top. If I can grab this, you can see there's the upper part. It's broken because this is not the original. The original also broke, and the problem is they need to be fine just to go through this band here. So they have to be small enough in diameter to go through, but then it has to be really hard not to bend. But because of the weight of the watch itself and the way that it rattles, so it's not always fixed, this movement causes this. So this is something that for sure you will have to change in the time that you have to watch. As you can see here in the back, it doesn't have this typical four screws connection that you have with every other watch. For example, the G-Shock, you see you have 4 screws there, which can be okay, but this is an automatic, so mechanical watch, and it's really more secure with this one here. So I want to tell you that this is gonna be the first time that I'm going to open this one in 7 years, or since I own the watch. And I was trying before just to make it a bit lighter so I can work under the camera, and maybe I can do this already with my hands. Let's see what we find inside. It's feeling relatively well, so it will come off. I hope I don't damage anything. I will try to keep it as intact as possible. Okay, so there we have the O-ring. You can see it's in really good status as well. Then we put it more like this. So no sign of oxidation or anything like this. And here we have the machine inside. Then we have the spring, or the loading mechanism actually. I will try to move it to the other side. It's really silent. I don't hear nothing, at least from the height that I am. You can see here that it says Orient Watch Company, 21 jewels, Japan. This is a in-house movement, so Orient themselves are doing this mechanical movement, and I must tell you that it is really accurate. And also, as I told you before, the duration of the spring load is really high, up to 2 days for sure. I can tell you that. So then you can see it and appreciate this with me after 7 years of holding it. Really good. So let's jump then to the conclusion. Okay guys, as many of you already know, every time that you remove the back plate of these watches and that you come in contact with the inside, you have to remove the O-rings. Otherwise, you will have something like this. This is the O-ring, which is a bit too loose or expanded because of the time, but it's still in a good shape itself, let's say. I mean, I trusted that the rubber itself is not damaged or broken, but of course a bit longer because of the use. So then I have to buy a new O-ring for this watch, and also I need to buy a new pin because I don't know where is it anymore. Actually, I tried to put it again, but then I only have this piece which I cannot connect anymore. So I need to buy this anyways because this is also bent here to the top. So then what can we say regarding the conclusion of this watch in itself? I think that this watch is one of the most value per money watch that you will get, along with the Seiko SKX 007 or 009, because I believe it's a beautiful and unique watch. It's not a direct how to say copy from the diver style from Rolex, or maybe I would say it looks more like an Omega with these dial numbers on with the bezel numbers here on top. But regardless, is unique for what it offers. I believe the watch itself is really good quality. I mean, it's 7 years in no service, still keeps time with really good accuracy, still holds for 2 days the load or the charge of the spring, and that's something to take into account. As you can see, yes, the mineral glass is a bit scratched, but you can polish this and you can leave with some marks here on the bezel, and also here maybe on the sides you can see some average use that you would also get the same in a Rolex or something of a high cost or high price products. Of course, it will affect which will hurt you the most, a scratch here or a scratch on the Rolex. I will put here the price for which you can find this Ray first edition. As I told you, this one is with this crown here on the top. The second edition doesn't have this one. I believe this one is looking a bit better because of this. It's more unique. The other one looks like this exactly, and it's a bit boring, I guess, in my opinion, of course. But I would say this is a really nice watch. I would totally recommend you to get it. It holds better than the Casios also here, because the Casios, for example, the G-Shock, they will break this bezel, the metalplastic, and you will also have to change the bezel and change the band, and then maybe you have a good watch as long as these buttons are made of metal. That's why I have a metal G-Shock here. It's a bit old model, but you still have some resin parts at the bottom that once they break, you basically cannot use the watch. Instead, in this one, you can rely on this. Of course, you don't have to hit it, you don't have to make it bounce as much as a G-Shock, but regardless, you can hold this watch for a long time. And I don't know, if you make services, maybe this will last you 10, 20 years. It's up to you, I guess, because the quality, it's in there. It's a very useful watch, really nice, not extreme design, rather conservative, but I believe the balance on this one is a really good one to make a suggestion for you to get it if you like it as it is. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to give it a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you up next time after I repair this watch.